Hi friends, welcome to another episode of Story with a Blue Lady. Amazing storyteller Alara will be your guide through today's captivating story. Let's get started.
The Family Recipe. In a small town nestled between rolling hills and sprawling fields, lived a young girl named Emily. She was the heart of her family, always curious and full of life. Emily lived with her parents in a cozy house that had been in the family for generations. Every corner of the house held memories, but the attic was her favorite place. It was a treasure trove of old furniture, dusty photo albums, and forgotten heirlooms. Emily loved spending her afternoons there, exploring the past and imagining the stories behind each item. One rainy afternoon, as the sky outside turned gray and the sound of raindrops tapping on the roof filled the house, Emily decided to head up to the attic. Armed with a flashlight and a sense of adventure, she climbed the creaky wooden stairs. The attic smelled of old wood and aged paper. Emily carefully maneuvered around boxes and furniture covered in white sheets, her light cutting through the dust. She had been up there countless times, but on this particular day, something new caught her eye. Hidden beneath a pile of old quilts was a small, leather-bound book. Its edges were worn, and the cover was slightly cracked with age. Curious, Emily gently picked it up and blew off the dust, revealing gold letters embossed on the front that read, "Family Recipes." Emily's heart skipped a beat. She had heard stories about her grandmother's cooking, how her meals brought the whole family together. But after her grandmother had passed away years ago, no one had been able to recreate those dishes. It seemed that her grandmother had taken her recipes with her, leaving only the fond memories of her cooking behind. Excited by her discovery, Emily rushed downstairs to show her parents. Her mother, Sarah, was in the kitchen, trying to prepare dinner while her father, John, was fixing a leaky faucet. Emily held up the book with a grin. "Look what I found in the attic." Sarah wiped her hands on a towel and took the book, her eyes widening as she recognized it. "This was your grandmother's recipe book," she said softly, flipping through the pages, filled with handwritten notes and carefully pressed flowers between the pages. The recipes were written in her grandmother's elegant script, with little notes about each dish. John looked over Sarah's shoulder and smiled. "I remember these dishes. Your grandmother used to make them for every family gathering. They were always the highlight of the evening." Emily's curiosity was piqued even more. "Can we make one of them tonight?" she asked eagerly. Sarah hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Why not? Let's give it a try." The three of them gathered in the kitchen, excited to bring one of the old recipes back to life. They flipped through the book until they found a dish that had always been a family favorite: grandmother's famous chicken pot pie. The recipe was simple, but had a few unique touches that made it special, like the use of fresh herbs from the garden and a secret blend of spices. Emily helped her mother gather the ingredients, while John prepped the chicken. As they worked together, the kitchen began to fill with the delicious smells of sautéing, onions, and simmering broth. The process of cooking the dish brought back memories for Sarah and John, and they found themselves sharing stories about family gatherings from years past. Emily listened intently, feeling a deep connection to her family's history. Once the pie was assembled and placed in the oven, they all sat around the kitchen table, eagerly awaiting the final result. The aroma of the baking pie filled the house, reminding them of the warmth and love that had always surrounded their family meals. When the timer finally went off, Sarah carefully pulled the golden brown pie out of the oven. It looked just as they remembered: perfectly flaky crust, bubbling filling, and that familiar smell that brought a wave of nostalgia. They gathered around the table, serving up generous portions of the pie. As they took their first bites, they were instantly transported back in time. The flavors were exactly as they remembered: comforting, savory, and full of love. It was as if their grandmother was there with them, her spirit present in every bite. The meal brought back memories of laughter and togetherness, of long conversations and shared joy. Emily could see the happiness in her parents' eyes as they reminisced about their childhoods and the times they spent with her grandmother. After dinner, they sat around the table for hours, talking and laughing, sharing stories that Emily had never heard before. The meal had not only filled their stomachs, but had also nourished their souls. reconnecting them to their past and to each other. In the days that followed, Emily and her family continued to explore the recipe book, trying out more of her grandmother's dishes. Each meal became a celebration of their heritage, a way to keep their family's traditions alive. They invited other relatives over, sharing the recipes and the memories that came with them. The house was once again filled with the sounds of laughter and the smells of delicious food, just as it had been when her grandmother was alive. The recipe book became a cherished family heirloom, passed down from generation to generation, and Emily, now grown up, continued the tradition, teaching her own children the recipes that had been so lovingly preserved. Through the act of cooking and sharing these meals, she ensured that her grandmother's legacy would live on, not just in the pages of an old book, but in the hearts of her family forever.
I hope you enjoyed today's story. The Blue Lady will always have more magic to share. See you in the next tale.